Select here. FreeBSD64, and I'm just going to call this Pfsense. Just leave it with one processor. I give it like 512 megabytes. It doesn't use a lot of resources in terms of memory, just a little bit, and our network is very small. Does it make any sense? So I can either use bridged here or I can use NAT. It's totally up to you. If you use NAT, the IP address here is going to change. If you use bridge, the IP address is going to change as you go from here to your house. Does that make any sense? If I use bridge, on the other hand, it's not going to change as much. So bridge now will automatically use the IP address from the college. If I get home, the IP address is going to change. If I use NAT, NAT doesn't affect it. It's going to be static, because the IP address of NAT that this machine is going to use depends on the configuration that I have. Okay? I'll show you a little bit later. Let's go to the next here. I'm going to leave it at NAT for now. I'm going to accept the default. Move my machine here. I'm going to use just about 5 gig of RAM. That's my 5 gig of hard disk. And I'll go over here, and you can go back over here and change anything that I want. You see that? Now here is what I want to show you earlier on. You want to pay attention here now. Okay, it's very important. Now that I have my LAN segment as shown on the board, this one here is going to be my WAN. Everybody agree with that? Okay, so since this is going to be my WAN, one of the things I'm going to do now is time for me now to create my LAN segment. I'm not using these guys at all. I'm using LAN segment. We haven't used that in the class before. So now I'm coming over here and I'm going to say I'm going to create my LAN segment. I can remove all these ones here because I've used them before. I'm going to say I'm going to have my LAN segment where I'm going to put my clients. Okay, as the first one. Had another segment. I can give it a name. I call that one servers. Okay, had another segment. I call that one DMZ1 and 2. DMZ1, and had another one DMZ2. If you use this approach, as you can see, you are essentially in control of a lot of things here. You don't have automatic DHCP, you don't have any of those automatically assigned to you. You understand? Because you are actually building your own network from the scratch. And they don't get allocation of this configuration where I will go to network editor and start allocating whatever. That doesn't apply here. If I drop a machine inside the LAN segment DMZ1, it's going to be there by itself alone. Does that make any sense? There's no DHCP, there's no, you're actually carving out your own network design. So when I click OK here, and I'm going to go to close if I want to do this, right? However, there are a few things more I can actually do. I can add more network card, right? In this case, I'm going to need 4. So I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to go and add a network card. Network card. Okay. And I'm just going to go to finish, because you cannot drop anything here. See? You don't have that choice here. Just come over here, go to NAT, go to finish, go back and add, go to network, go to NAT, go to finish, go back and add, go to network, go to next, go to finish, go back and add, go to network, go to next, Gonna finish. See that? Then I can grab each of this card now, and I can go to NAT segment, and I can say, this guy, I'm gonna put you into client. Go to the next one, LAN segment, I'm gonna put you into server. Next one, LAN segment, my DMZ1. Next one, LAN segment, my DMZ2. See the way I did it? And then I'm gonna go to close. I'm going to finish here. If you don't do it, but it's a lot easier for you if you just remove certain things, because this is just an optimized operating system. So by going to VM and go to boot to power on into BIOS, you just go into BIOS straight, so you don't have to. I'm going to go in here and go to my advanced. And here, I'm really going to my I/O device configuration, and I want to disable almost all this serial port. Just going to disable them because I don't need them. It's not the end of the world if you decide not to do that. It's just that. What is it?
What's the command to disable?
I just highlight it and click it and just move your mouse up and just disable. Yep, that's all. Does that make any sense? Yeah, you don't need it. You just kind of like go and take it out, right? So I'll go to F10 now to save and exit. And then from this point, I'm going to boot to my system. And I just kind of let it count. Let's want it to pause. And then, this is going to automatically allow me to ask me if I want to set up a VLAN, which of course I'm going to say I do not want to set up a VLAN. And I'll go from there and then set up the configuration for the entire card. The installation itself is very, rather very short. It doesn't take a long time. It's always a good idea for you to have something that looks more like a table, so you can have something like a WAN here, and then you have your client, then you have your server, you have your DMZ, you have your DMZ2. And you're going to see the tables we're going to have later on. The reason for this table is you want to have an idea of what is your network ID and then what interface you are assigning to them. So I'm going to go ahead and say accept this setting, quick install. I'm going to go to OK. It's going to do the installation. So this table, you understand what I'm saying? So that it's easier for you, especially during your lab, you're doing certain things you want to, okay, I'm going to go ahead and reboot. And so this guy's going to reboot now. And the first thing that I'm going to do is to configure my WAN interface. You see that the guy is picking up the stuff now, right? That's what you want to see. Your WAN has to automatically pick. If it doesn't pick, we've got a problem. Does that make any sense? And because it's DHCP, right? If your WAN is not picking an IP address automatically, that means your DHCP somewhere, somehow is not working. You want to see this. Okay? If I really want to be like a hard nose to really get rid of these 4 network cards, they're acting stubborn, but they're really not that stubborn. All I have to do is shut this guy down completely and then remove the card. and then start it. And then they'll be gone. Alright? So they're not that tough. They're just acting like they're tough. Right? Okay. So then I can go, I'm okay with this, with my stock configuration now. The next thing I'm going to do now is then go ahead and say assign interface, which is going to be my number 1. Okay? And then it's going to load it up, and as it begins to load it up, one of the first things it's going to ask you want to set up a VLAN. I'm going to say no, I don't want to set up a VLAN. Then it's going to ask me for this, which is going to be my EM1. Does that make any sense?
For the WAN?
Yeah. You understand?
Yeah, I thought it was EM0 you're using for your WAN.
No, EM0 is for my WAN. The next one from is my LAN. Let me see this one. Oh, no. Actually, if this house, yeah, I just call it EM0, that's fine. Just put EM0. So here it's asking me, like, would you like to remove the LAN IP address and unload the interface? You know, at this point, it really is up to you, however you want to do it. You know, the key for me that I want to get is to configure it. If I said no at this point, it's going to just come over here, it's going to configure it. And I'm going to go one by one to assign IP address to them. So then you can now at this point go ahead and set your interface IP address. Does that make any sense? Now this is something that is totally up to you. If you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it. Okay? So what I've just done over here now was to go to my LAN to kind of set it up. Now a lot of the time I generally prefer to set up the configuration from all the interfaces and set it up. Like if I were to go over here and do one over here, assign another interface, I'm going to see something there over here. I'm going to do VLAN. I'm just going to go over. Right, with 0, 1, 2, 3, right? So EM4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So I've set up all my stuff over here, and if I say I want to continue now, I can go to yes. So the next thing I want to do at this point over here, because I already have everything here, I want to go ahead and assign IP address. You see that the only one that have IP address here is the first one, that is, DHCP. So at this point here, I'm going to go set interface IP address. And I'm going to specify the one that I want to set IP address for. And at this point, which one is that? Number 2, right? My LAN. So enter the new LAN IP address. So I'm going to call this one now. The only thing I need to do at this point over here, since I've already set it up, is what will I enter here now, given the IP address? So 1.1, 10.1.1. Remember, now you have to enter the address now, not the subnet now. Remember that? You understand? That now I have to enter, the first address there, right? That's the interface. Yeah, just like what you had earlier here. This is the interface, right? Set the interface address. So here, when I come back over here, I'm going to enter 1. Okay? And then it's asking what's my subnet mask, and I just say 24. In your case, you're going to be entering 28 or 29, if you have to do something like that. But here I'm using 24 all along. That's why I'm saying that you don't have to worry about figuring out all the other stuff. Once you enter the right number, Pfsense is going to automatically configure that for you. So I'm just saying 24 here. Does that make any sense? So that's what I've already done over there. Okay? Then once I do that, just press my enter. So it's saying enter the new LAN IP address for none. I'm pressing enter. And I'm going to say I don't want to enable. Does that make any sense? Because I'm doing static. Okay. Do you want to revert to HTTP as interface? Generally, I want to say yes here. Okay. Now I have that web browser for that interface. Press enter to continue. Now I have this done. See that? If I press 2 again, I'm going to say which one? I'm going to say number 3. And it's going to say what's my IP address? 10.1.2, right? 10.1.2 dot what? 1, correct. So press enter here. 24 is my subnet mask. Press enter, at least for now. For none, I don't have any version 6. I don't want to enable DHCP. And of course I want to enable, that one. Press enter to continue. Now I have that. Making sense? So press 2 again. I want to set up. And you can see it's showing static because it was statically set up. So press enter here. And then I'm going to say 10.1.5 dot what? 1, correct. And then my subnet mark is 24. So for 1, enter up to registry aggregator address. For this one, I don't have any 1. And then I don't want to set up IP version 6, so I press continue. Do you want to enable this piece server on this one? I'm going to say no, I don't want that. And I have this. Press to continue. I do the same thing here. And that's exactly how they set up the network card, the router that you guys are working with. Somebody just sat down and just do this. .1.1.6.1, right? And then the subnet max is 24. Press enter from the gateway. Press enter over here. Now for this. And with this, you've set up your entire card that you want on it. So it's really totally up to you how you want to go by how to configure this VM, because I want to put them at different segments. So make any sense? Because you don't know what you have until you actually connect it. So make any sense? So you can configure it and you think you're good, but if those machines can't talk to one another, then you know your routing is probably not all that great. Does that make any sense? So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 system now that I have to figure out where I'm going to put them. Does that make any sense? The first one I'm going to worry about is my LAN here. I call it EM1. So let me figure out what my EM1 is it. Okay, supposed to be 8AED, correct? So let's figure out what I have here. Here's the first one here, and we know we put it on NAT, so we know this guy is on NAT, right? So let me look at this again. 8AED. Let me see the IP address of this one. 8AED. So where is it? It's on client, right? So I'm going to grab this this sandbox, and I'm going to go to this network here, and I'm going to put it under LAN segment client. See that? And I'm going to power it up, and I already know the configuration for this LAN segment. So on this machine, I'm actually going to manually assign an IP address to this machine that fits that segment. You understand what I'm saying? That's how I test my interface. So this guy can grab this guy and go ahead and put it on. Let's put this one on servers. At least that's what we think it is. We don't know. It might not pan out. But eventually you're going to know if you're right or if you're wrong. It doesn't take a long time, because if they cannot talk to that interface easily, I will know that that's not the right interface that this thing should belong to. So I'm putting all of this guy here, and I'm putting this guy here inside DMZ2, and I will start testing my configuration. Alright, so let's look at this guy. I'm going to set a static IP address that should work if indeed this is the right network. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to say 10.1.1. What? Say 5. Whatever, right? And I know this is 255. 255. I don't need a gateway set up right now. Okay, so I'm just going to go OK, and I'm going to go to close. And if this is the right network, I should be able to ping this interface. You understand what I'm saying? Because they're supposed to be on the same network. So I go over here and I'll say 10.1.1.1, and it responded. What I label it to be. Does that make any sense? And I just move it around until I get the right one. That's easy. I really want you guys to understand this, because some of our students that are doing the CCDC competition, right? They find it very challenging because they are not used to routing and firewall configuration before. But if you go through these, it's pretty much the same thing for most of the devices that you're going to be encountering. So here's another one, and I believe this one will set it for DMZ1. I believe DMZ1. So DMZ1. So I'm going to load this up, and this is Windows XP. For those of you who haven't seen Windows XP in a while, you got to keep those archives going a little bit. It's a lot of fun to see the good old Windows XP. So I'm going to change this one to 210, right? I can leave it as it is, correct? correct?
Isn't that a DMZ one?
Okay, so it should be 5, right? Alright. So 515. Let's change this one to 510. Okay? And then the next thing I'm going to do here is to go to CMD, and I'm going to try and see if I can ping 10.1.5.1. If I cannot ping it, then I'm going to try and see what is it that I did that's going on that's not right. But be careful. You have to know how firewalls work. By default, see, when you see timeout, timeout doesn't mean you are not connecting. Timeout means it's not responding. By default, the only LAN interface on Pfsense that will respond, that will let you go through, is what? The client, the LAN, because it designated that as the green network. Where is that again? I can't find this PDF. See that? This is the client, this is the LAN, this is the internal network, and this is the only leg, LAN network, the only network that by default Pfsense will let through. You understand? External network or any other DMZ, by default Pfsense doesn't let them go through. Does that make any sense? So when you ping them and you hear something like timeout, it's not, doesn't mean that now it's time for you to freak out. Right? You even run ARP-A here, and it says no half entry because nothing is answering. That interface is just not answering. And same thing goes for the other ones here. So where do you then go from here? Here is the right thing to do. You come over here to where we were before, load this up, and here is the guy where you were getting some answers back, right? You go to the interface here. And then you now go to 10.1.1.1, right? We'll go to the Pfsense configuration. Okay, so you see the interface at the top now. So for some reason the browser that I've been on that machine is just out of complete, So this is what I want to show you real quick, guys. Alright? So these are my interfaces. This is the WAN interface. I can change the name if I want to. If I even know my MAC address, I can actually copy the MAC address of the interface here and save it. All of these are just my default configuration. This is okay like this. And I'm just going to leave it as it is here. There are more stuff that you can do over here. I'm not configuring DHCP just like we set it up over here. I can go over here now and go to my opt1. Right? And my opt1 here will be server. I can come over here and call it you understand? And I've already set up my static IP for it. This, see, 10.1.1.2. This gives you a more user-friendly. Now, in many cases, the only first card you attach is your WAN card to get the IP address, so you don't have to mess around. Then the next thing you do is you go ahead and configure your LAN, because that's allowed to come in automatically, right? The rest of the stuff, most people configure it from the web interface. I just decided to show you how to do it in a much harder way by configuring everything on the command line. So I can come over here and say, okay, you're going to be server going forward. My static IP address is okay. This is my subnet mask, the stuff that we're setting up from the web interface earlier on. And once I'm done with what I want to do, I'm just going to come over here and go to save. Okay? And go to apply changes. Most of what I'm doing over here with time, if you come back over on your Pfsense here is going to be telling you you successfully log on, and it's going to be changing some of these interfaces later on as you restart your machine. Okay? We'll go over to where we were before, maximize the screen. You can go back here again to next interface and go to up to, and I'm going to call this one here DMZ1. See that? That's the only thing I want to change here at this point. I'm going to go to save, and I'm going to apply changes. Then I go to the last one. And I'll call this one DMZ2. Go to save. I'll go ahead and apply the changes. You understand what I'm saying now? So now it's beginning to look like what we had set up here. Then the next thing you want to do now is a firewall. Okay? You remember earlier some stuff when I pinged, it just wasn't going. And you're wondering what is the problem. Now I want you guys to go to your rules, on the firewall rules. The first one you want to look at is your WAN. And you can see it's reserved, accept any protocol, to any destination. It's kind of pretty much easy at this point. Of this area for you. So this is my WAN. Let's go ahead and look at my LAN. You see the rules on the LAN. See? The rules say allow any protocol from any source, from any port, going to my LAN destination. You see that? Any protocol from any source, from any port, to my LAN address on this port. That's fine. This one, anti-lock rule. The idea of this one is so that I will be able to access my LAN interface. You understand? So that if I lock myself out, I screw things up so bad, and you're kind of like, God, I don't know, how did I get here? You can always go to the web interface. That's why I was able to come to this page. These rules allow me to connect to my internet from any product on port 80. They call it anti-lock rule. It's like get out of jail. If you totally get dizzy, you forget how you got here, go to the web interface, you can always access this interface on port 80. See that? The next rule is this. Allow IP from my LAN source, okay, to any destination. See that? Look at this. This is the rule that allows anything from my LAN interface to go anywhere. See that? So I can do this. I can actually copy this rule. Copy this rule. Go to my, that is the rule here. Essentially just copying this rule. Alright? And you see, the rule itself is to allow pass. You can drop, you can prevent, you can do whatever. Gonna do this. Go back here. Gonna go to my DMZ1, for example. And I can go ahead and add rules here. When there's no rule, what is the rule? Deny. See what I'm saying? If there's no rule, it means deny. And you want to allow your specific rules to come at the top, because usually you want to put deny at the last. Right? If you put deny at the top, it's not going to execute any other rule. I can say allow port 80, allow port 22, allow port 25, deny all. Once it says deny all, it doesn't execute any other thing anymore. So you want to arrange your rules. I can come over here and say, add a new rule, right? And then come over here and do what I've just done over here. Does that make any sense? I can say allow on port DMZ, this one here, any. So this is any source here. You understand what I'm saying? And I can go to destination, any port, and I can go ahead and save. See now? This will allow anything on DMZ1 to go through. I can apply the changes, right? And it automatically open it, and I'm going to select this one, and I'm going to say put it to my DMZ. That's just one easy way to copy. You understand? And you can just see what I've just done. See that? So it's easy for me to just copy any row, and this will work, and this will work as well. Let me show you one other stuff. I can go to shell by pressing 8, and I've done this quite a little bit of time, right? And all I do is ifconfig. Pass this ifconfig into less, and I can actually see the MAC address. See EM0? That is, if you forget to take this snapshot, you can go to EM0 here, and you can look at the MAC address. And you can see EM0 is 8AE3. So I have it over here. You can see EM1 is 8AED, which is my LAN. And then you can go over here and then start cross-checking. So I can see if my mapping is correct. If it's not correct, then you want to fix it. So I can see this one, my MAC address for my NAT is 8AE0, which is my E0 over here. Alright, 8AE0. I'm going to press cancel. That's 8A. 1 second here, let me check this. 8AE3, so that's good. I'll go select the next one here. That's 8AED. Okay, so that's my line. Still matches. Third one, 8AF7. Okay, 8AF7 is mapped to my DMZ1. Let's make sure we are right on that one. 8AF7. That's the server. Correct? So I'll put it back on the server. Does that make any sense? Okay. Again, 8AF7. So put it on the server. And then 8A01. I'm going to have to go down a little bit here. 8AF7. That will be DMZ. 1. 8AF7. Let's see. 8AF7. Where's my 8AF7 now? Okay, some confusion here. Okay, that's correct. Sorry, 8AF7. This is going to be my 8A01. So this will be my DMZ1. And logically, this will be my 8A0B. 180.0b. So this is one rather easy way to go back and just kind of like, you know, check out the interface to make sure that see that now? See now? What do you think we did that we didn't fix earlier? I allow only TCP to go through, not any protocol. So I came over here and I blew this up so you could see. I went back and inspect my rule, and I realized on the rules here I had allowed IP here, but on the protocol I said TCP. If I only want to allow ICMP specifically ping to go through, I'll just select ICMP here and I will go and save, and it will still allow it through. But ICMP, if I apply the rule, that should still work. And if I were to go over here as well, and you can see is TCP is here as well. So I'm going to have some problem here if I want to allow TCP to go through. Oftentimes when you make mistake here, just look at the error message you're getting. If you're getting destination network not found, whatever, that is not a firewall issue. Does it make any sense? Then you need to take it back. As a matter of fact, if you're getting a duplicate IP address, you're on the right network. Does it make any sense? You otherwise wouldn't get that kind of error messages. So if I go back here to where I was before now, it's still letting it through because I'm specifically specifying now. If I grab this guy now, where is this guy? What is this guy doing here? Oh, let's put this guy on DMZ2 for example, and let's see our firewall rule. And I'll go and try and change the IP address here. So if I go to 6, let's call this 620. Don't worry about the stuff here. Just gonna go ahead and do it. The key, the most important key for you is to remember to be able to identify when you're having a network issue or when you're having, you know, a firewall issue. You can see I can ping this one across now, right? But I can also test, can I ping 5, another network from here? You understand what I'm saying? And if it's saying destination host unreachable, I might have to tell my firewall how to get to that network. Right? Or tell this guy how to get to that network. You understand what I'm saying? Maybe I need to come over here and say, and this is where you really have to kind of start honing up your networking skill to be able to interpret this error message. Little error message doesn't throw you out. Look at the default gateway. This guy's never going to get out. I can come back and say, oh, you want to get out? I'm sorry. Try this guy. Maybe he knows it, maybe he doesn't. Does that make any sense? You're getting a little closer. So when you get error messages, is this network issue or firewall issue? It's a network issue, it's not a firewall issue. See what I'm saying? So, and then I can probably try. Now you're saying I can get across to the other network. Why? Because you just told me the exit gateway. Because when I went to go and review my firewall rules on this interface for DMZ2 allows anybody on DMZ2 to get out from any source to any source. You see that? So the problem is not my rule. Problem obviously is with my network stuff. So make any sense now? So that's really the key. Even with this machine right now, I can configure this machine to be able to get on the internet. All I have to do is make sure that I allow the right gateway to look at the right gateway to look at the right gateway, and then I'll be able to get out. So I tell him the right gateway. For these guys now, just say, oh, your gateway here, ipconfig/or is this guy. That's the exit router. Right? So this guy knows any packet that is not destined for 6.x is going to send it to this guy. This guy knows how to get out. He's going to send the guy to, on this 6.1, right? Send it out from that point. That's the exit gateway. Then I can actually even configure the next router is going to send it to that place, and I can configure that one also to look at the other one. So you can have it, and then this guy will be able to get on the internet. Absolutely. Because from here, 6.1, if I route it all the way down to NAT network, anybody will be able to get out to the internet from anywhere here.
What if one network is down? Is that going to be redundant?
What is it?
What if one network is down?
It depends on which network. Right? Look at this. If this is down, it doesn't affect this guy. If this is down, it doesn't affect this guy from getting out. If this is down, of course it affects everybody here. Does that make any sense? Okay, so this is where I'm going to stop here now on the firewall. Anybody have questions? I've recorded everything I've done here. I'm going to try and go back and edit the video, okay, to kind of remove all the instruction and all the other irrelevant stuff. The key most important thing that you need to remember here is how to set up this guy. Okay? If somebody were to ask me and say, how would you do this next time? It's very, very easy. First card you want to add is just one card. It's up to you to choose how that card is going to relate. So, start with 1. You can configure it to be NAT or bridge. You're not doing anything other than you're just installing your Pfsense. Pfsense is going to take the first card as your WAN. Then it's going to automatically assign an IP address to itself. If that doesn't happen, you've got a problem. So make any sense? Then the next thing I want to do, having had the first one configured, I'm going to put these things to sleep, add another network card. You understand? The next one card is going to be LAN automatically. Assign a static IP address to it. LAN interface by default has ability to get anywhere. It's a green network. It's considered as a green network. From the LAN interface, you'll be able to configure any other interface card. Does that make any sense? You can go ahead and just add other cards to it. Then log on to the interface and configure other cards. I went through the much harder route by configuring all the network interface cards from command prompt. The easiest route is to add one card, WAN, automatically configured. Assigning the name. The next one is LAN. You can add 2-3 other cards, but only configure LAN. Static. Once that is done, get on the interface. Attach a machine to that LAN segment, get on the web browser, and configure the remaining other cards. Does it make any sense? Because at that point, what you're simply doing, you might probably wondering, why did you go through the harder one? Because your case is going to be harder. Because I'm already presenting you with the configured firewall. Does that make any sense? Your firewall is already pre-configured. It's not as easy. So I went through the much harder route by configuring everything from the interface and assuming that is a problem. Does that make any sense? Because automatically, if I had configured just the first two, all I have to come over here and I can go over here right now and add another card to it. Just come over here. Where is this card here? It's coming up. Go over here and add another card. Then I can put it on any network I want. Or even come over here, create another LAN segment. Go to LAN here and add another one. And just call it joke or fun, whatever you want to call it. And then add another network card to it. And then simply come back in here. I don't want to sweat anything out. I'm going to have another card here that has no name. And I'm just going to go to the interface here. You're going to see one card here that has no name. You select it. And you're going to come to this configuration. And then you can begin to say, I want to call this card XYZ. I want to give a static IP address. And then I don't want any IP version 6. And then you can come over here and specify the IP you want to call it. Does that make any sense? Now it's a web interface configuration. Remember the two most important cards you want to configure. Your WAN and make it automatic. Your LAN, that's the most important interface card. The rest of the card, you can actually do it afterthought. Does that make any sense? You don't even have other cards at all. You can just take the first one, LAN, then the rest of the cards you just add it afterthought, then go to the web interface over here. That's a lazy, way to do it. The much harder, painful way to do it is to go through the interface as I did. Does that make any sense? Just know the default rule. Every other interface you add by default will be firewalled out. So when you ping from there, you'll be getting, timeout response. Does that make any sense? There is no problem. It's because firewall is configured to block it. Now, if you want to, you can just come over to the firewall rules over here and go to your rules here. The ones, if you want to see allow all, just go to your LAN, because that is always configured to have this, and just copy it. You understand? So let's copy and point to the interface you want to point it to. Okay? Click OK, and always remember to apply changes. Once you apply the changes, then you should be able to ping it. Alright? Be mindful of common mistake, like the one we made earlier on, when I said allow all, but I was only allowing TCP. Does that make any sense? Allow TCP will allow like web interface, web traffic, but will not allow ping to go through.